Chapter 6 is all about how to make links. Now you learned about the structure of a URL in Chapter 2. Naturally, this is important to making links because a link has to include a URL so that it can open something, okay? So the URL is the value of the href attribute. You know, an attribute has a name and a value. The name is href and the value is going to be that URL. Now, when a link points to a different site, the URL has to include everything, including the protocol such as http://. This is called an absolute URL. It's absolute because it includes everything. So here's an example of an absolute URL. We've got our well-known University of Florida website, and we've got http:// and then the complete URL to go to the homepage of that site. And in between the A tags, we've got the text that will be blue and underlined, the link text or the text of the link, right? So how does that look on an actual page? Looks like this. And when you click it, it opens the website that was linked to. We'll hit the back button to return. Now, a relative URL, on the other hand, only includes what is needed to find that page or resource from the current location. It includes only the path that goes from where we are to where the link will take us. So a simple relative URL looks like this, right here. So in this case, it only has the file name of the other page we're linking to. And I'll show you how that works. Pretty similar. It opens this other page that's on my same site. And I'll show you how those are in the Finder. So the one we started on is links.html, and the one we just opened is otherpage.html. So they're here in the same folder side by side. And this one links back, and this one links to, and that relative URL is very simple and short. It's simply the file name, the complete file name, including the file extension of that other page. You'll see the link on the other page is similarly simple. They're going back and forth between these two files. What about a page that's not on a different site, an outside site, so you don't need an absolute URL, but it's somewhere else within this folder. It's somewhere else on my same site, but not at the same level. In that case, the path must include any directories or folders that are in between where we are and the linked resource. So if we were going down inside this folder, down inside this folder, down inside this folder to reach this page, what would our link have to look like? What would the URL inside the href attribute need to look like? To link to that page, I have to name all the levels that lead down to it. So for this example, I've named my folders very simply. I've named the top one 1, and the one inside 2, and the one inside that 3. And I need to name all those folders within my href, and I need to separate each one with slashes. So to go from 1 and 2 and 3 down to reach this deep page, I have to write 1 and 2 and 3 to get to that file, all right? And it works perfectly well. Now, what about when I'm down inside that deep page, when I'm down 3 levels and I want to go back up to where I was? How does that work? It's a little bit different. So what your href has to do is it has to step us up each level. So paths that go up to higher levels have a different format from paths that go down into the lower levels. A path up to a higher level uses 2 dots and a slash for each upper level. So each upper level, each one, and then another, has to be represented in this relative URL by 2 dots and a slash. This seems to confuse a lot of beginners. So take your time to really learn this, because if you don't learn it, you're going to waste a lot of time with broken links. And as Robbins points out in chapter 6, this also applies to images. So you need to understand these relative paths so that you can make images appear on your pages successfully as well.